Thank you for listening to my presentation on gifted students in the social science content. Today we're going to take a look at what it is to be a gifted student in my classroom in U.S. History, 11th grade at Apple Valley High School. I have several gifted students in my regular U.S. History class. I noticed that there's a difference between, as our module suggests, high IQ and increased emotional intelligence. Students with high IQ generally need less review. They learn how to master faster. They're able to deal with complex problems, and they're also very passionate about their interests. In my classroom, it's important to engage all students in problem solving, especially those that are gifted. I find that if you give the student with the high IQ the ability to use their abilities in problem solving both in and out of the content, that you're able to also increase their emotional intelligence at the same time. Much of what we do in my classroom has to do with social science. And so evaluating not only our own increased emotional intelligence, but also we learn what it is to have apathy for human beings in different time periods and understand why they did some of the things that they did historically that bring about change in our world. A lot of times with gifted students, they enjoy a confidence in their ability, but one of the problems is they really don't understand what it is to be okay with some form of failure, and that usually has to do with their emotional intelligence at the same time. They don't know exactly where to draw those experiences from, and it is my goal to help guide them in both intrapersonal and interpersonal emotional developments in my classroom. Interpersonal developments are really just communications with yourself and how you communicate with yourself both positively and negatively. I always tell my students if they're talking negatively about themselves and their ability to learn history, I always first start out with asking them, would you talk to your best friend like that? Would you talk to your best friend how you're speaking to yourself or about yourself? And their ability to communicate with themselves effectively is eventually going to give them some growth both intellectually and also emotionally. That difference and that fine line between failure and success needs to come from ability and the ability not only to identify your own emotions, but how others really view your success or failure. Most of the time, gifted students say that they have a lot of pressure from family. Sometimes that's true, and sometimes that pressure is put upon them on their own. One of the problems that as a teacher we can definitely run the risk of becoming a problem in class is when students become lazy or not engaged. Maybe they're not turning in assignments because they're too easy, or perhaps there might be a situation where a student truly just does not know what the first step is in order to solve the problem. They might have the ability to solve the problem, but it might take them just a little while to have that kind of social intelligence that shows them what page to start on, something that a non-gifted student would probably not think twice about. Also, perseverance and determination become an issue in teaching your students, even if the work is at a lower level or a higher level to what they are mastering, that they still need to persevere and show some determination to complete assignments. And that impact is going to not lead just to perfectionism, but also just creating good character in education and in the classroom. That shows social and emotional learning as well. Maximizing on-task behaviors are very important, and also developing those classroom social skills that are different than just socializing with your friends. highly motivated students, whether they fall in the category of gifted or not, and really all students need to understand what it is to have healthy coping mechanisms to develop not only their intellectual intelligence but their emotional intelligence. It's very important that all students, especially those that are gifted, learn how to exercise and eat well, take breaks whenever possible, really look at the source of stress head on and confront it. Many times, mature students talk a good talk, but it's really important to remember that they are still kids. They don't have all the coping mechanisms that they might think that they do. And, it's really important for students to be teenagers and to develop social skills within the groups of people, like their friends and family, that they feel most comfortable with. So, encouraging them to take breaks and work for their own personal satisfaction is often going to ensure that your classroom has a balance. Thank you.